Private equity, investment banking, hedge fund, or venture capital? Are they your passions for a career? If so, go to budsforfinance.net and learn about my 30 years of investment banking experience at Goldman, UBS, Drexel Burnham, and McLaren Capital Partners. Let's start with this whole notion that investment firms are not looking for the best person, but they're looking for the right person. Let me give you the perfect example of a student from several years ago who came to me and had a real interest in getting into the investment banking world. And what was interesting was, first time I met with her, she was painfully shy, had come from a very good school, but not a school that I would even consider in the would be a investment banking or finance rich type of a school name. And we sat down and we talked, and she obviously was very bright. And at the end of sort of this introductory meeting, I was sitting there going, she could definitely fit in investment banking, in the investment world, but I couldn't conceive of her in either private equity or in investment banking, but possibly in like a hedge fund type scenario. So towards the end of the interview, she said to me, listen, I have a hard break. I have to leave because I have to drive an hour and a half to a meeting. So obviously I asked her what that meeting was and whatever. And so she went down, and it turns out that in this woman's sort of painfully shy approach to the world, it turns out that she was literally a world champion twice and a runner-up once in an event, a sports event that frankly isn't even, I wouldn't even consider it to be an American event. I would consider it to be much more of a European event. And so I looked at her and said, why didn't you ever mention this? Why isn't this even on your resume, et cetera, et cetera? She said, I don't think anybody would ever would ever care about this. So I looked at her and I said, you got to be insane. I mean, you are literally the world champion, two-time world champion, one-time runner-up of tens of thousands of people around the world. And so she went home, talked to her parents, and she said, do you think anybody would care about this? And her parents, of course, said, yes, it's critical. Okay? So let's cut to the chase. So about, I think she was at this point a sophomore or a junior in college. One thing sort of led to the next. It turns out that she got an internship at Goldman Sachs, and this painfully shy persona had given way, and she was not outgoing, but obviously bright and highly compelling. And so we continued to speak and whatnot. And then one day she came and she said, I'm thinking of doing a startup. Okay, that was related to what her specialty was at Goldman. So made a couple of introductions. She was able to get some financing, some more financing. About 3 or 4 years later, she had a multi-billion-dollar exit. Then there's a classic case where she obviously was not the best person, but she was the right person at Goldman. She was then the right person when she was knocking on the doors of venture capital firms around the world, and just hugely successful.